BFM problems for the bandit. You know, he just did some turns and created some BFM problems for us, so now we're going to try to create some BFM problems for him. Okay, then when the bandit BFMs, we're going to take away his turning room, if we can, or, you know, kill him. Or if we can't do that, we're going to try to get out of the fight, separate. Okay, extend, get energy, or get all the way out of the fight and separate. Okay, so those are the DLOs for defensive BFM. Nothing good will happen to you without detecting the bandit. There's 3 ways to detect bandits, basically. You can do it on radar, which we're not going to talk about in this particular block of instruction. You can do it with threat warning system, and the other way is visually. First, the way we're going to talk about is threat warning system. You see Falcon here, a Falcon cockpit shot. It looks similar to the A model or the C model F-16. You've got now a bandit at 6 o'clock showing up on the threat warning system. So that's one of the ways you get him on threat warning. You might say, well, that's not a great way, but it's better than, you know, better than not detecting him at all and end up getting ambushed. Okay, so that you need him to detect him. The other way to do it is visually. Here we have a guy driving along, and we've got a bandit at deep 6 o'clock, so visually is the other way. Now, could you see this guy if he didn't have his radar on, looking from that shot? Probably not, but you know, your wingman, that's why you have wingman, because, you know, he can see more plan for him. You know, a needle-nosed target is a tough target to pick up at your 6 o'clock because there's just not much to see. But a wingman looking back will be able to, you know, see that vertical stabilizer and see some plan for him, so the wingman might be calling you to turn. Okay, so visual is the other way. Okay, we talked about a bandit, right, that started 2 miles out in front of you, you know, and he made this defensive turn. You know, we can do the same thing to him. We detect a guy farther enough back, we need to turn hard to meet him in the front. How do you do a defensive turn? When you detect somebody's behind you, you just take your lift vector, okay, roll the jet, put your lift vector right on the target. Okay, the lift vector comes straight out the top of the airplane, okay, and you take that lift vector, you put it right on the target, and you pull. Hopefully, you will get a front quarter pass out of it if the fight started with the bandit outside your turn circle. Let's take a look at that in Falcon. Here's the F-16, 01 out front, fulcrum behind. Okay, and again, you've got this long-range setup, this 2-mile setup, and you can see the effect of the turn. Just a good, hard F-16 turn at corner velocity, bang, a head-on BFM pass rather than a guy staying behind you. Okay. Let's take a different view of that same maneuver. You're driving around, see the bandit behind you, put your lift vector right on him. Here's about a good 7G lift vector on pull. You notice his lift vector is right on him the whole time, and then you get a high line of sight rate pass, a high angle pass at end game. Okay. What happens when the bandit doesn't start at 2 miles? And we started with the easy one. Guys at 2 miles, you pull, bang. And I know what you're thinking, because I look out there when I've taught this course for lots of years, and I look out at the guys, and I know they're waiting for me to tell them the maneuver. They're thinking, there's a maneuver. And if I learn it, then I'll know what to do, because I've seen the movie. I mean, there's a movie out, right? And there's a guy playing it. Doesn't mind, you know, getting makeup and having his eyebrows plucked and stuff. And that guy, you know, he did this maneuver, and guess what? Guy flew out in front of him. There ain't no such maneuver. Okay, I'm just here to tell you there ain't no such maneuver. If a guy starts, a good guy, let me tell you how good. You against your clone. I always like to talk in terms of you against your clone. Your clone starts back behind you at 6,000 feet. You do the perfect move, right? You already learned that. Lift vector on, corner velocity, pull. Your clone does everything right. What's going to happen? Your clone's going to be in your chili in no time, right? If he makes no mistakes, he's in your... There is no move. You know, you can't... I wish I could tell you that there was some move you could do. There isn't. So all you can do is put your lift vector on the guy when he starts inside the turn circle. The sooner you start this turn, right, the better, because you'll get more BFM problems for him if you get it going soon. So don't delay doing, you know, something creative. Because usually getting creative doesn't help you. You just look back and go, oh, there's a guy behind me. Pull, 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 right at corner, right at corner. Check your airspeed in my corner. Keep pulling, and then you wait for him to do something wrong. Okay, if he turns too late, he could get stuck in deep lag, right? You can just keep this turn coming and keep his nose stuck to lag. If he turns too early, he doesn't drive to the elbow, right? He starts to go to lead pursuit out at 5,000 feet. When a guy does that to me, I go, great. All I got to do now is do what? Defend against the gunshot. Okay? All I got to do is defend against the gunshot. But if he does the perfect move, all you're going to buy is time. Now, you may say that, oh, that's not worth a shit, you know, I'm buying time. I mean, but that's what you want to do, because even if it's real and a guy's back behind you, you do want to buy time, because things can go wrong, right? I mean, a rattlesnake could, jump up and, bite him in the throat or something from his cockpit. No, but a lot of things can go wrong, is what I'm saying. So you just got to buy yourself time and live as long as you can, because maybe somebody will come in and help you or something. Okay, here's a defensive turn at 1 mile, and we're going to see the effect of a you against your clone fight. I mean, this won't have a surprising conclusion. Your clone comes in a fulcrum. You're in an F-16, you're doing everything right, you're pulling your lift vector right on him, and, it doesn't have a real happy ending, as you can see there, Missile defense. Okay, anytime you see a missile in the air, that was our first DLO, right? If a missile was in the air, we're going to defend against it. Okay, we got to do that. You fight missiles with aspect. That's how you fight a missile, with aspect. And what I mean by fight missiles with aspect is you put them on the beam. Okay, you put them at 9 o'clock, you put them at 3 o'clock. That's how you fight a missile. We have a telestrator shot of a missile attack and a correct response of a guy taking the missile and putting it on the beam. Missile's in flight. Falcon's in a right-hand turn. Falcon turns, puts the missile on the beam, and he gets lucky. Okay, the missile doesn't hit him. Why do you put missiles on the beam? Okay. You put missiles on the beam because it makes them pull the maximum amount of lead. Okay, what missiles do is they come off the rail and they zero out their line of sight rate. They pull lead pursuit so that they can get to you faster. Why do they want to get to you faster? Well, it isn't meanness, because they feel they'll kill you no matter what. They want to get to you faster because then they can get there with the rocket motor burning. So when you maneuver, they've got energy, right? All maneuvering in the air costs energy. You spend energy. Missiles spend energy too. If you can get that rocket motor to burn out and you make a move, the missile is not going to be able to maneuver very well. I mean, one turn and, and it'll run out of steam. So that's why you want to do that. Fight missiles with aspect. Put them on the beam. Okay, gunshots. For a guy to kill you with a gun, he needs to solve 3 problems. Or for you to kill somebody with a gun, you need to be in range. You need to have your nose in lead pursuit. Why? Because it's just like Kentucky windage on a, shooting a duck. You got to shoot out in front because you've got a projectile with a fine, time of flight, essentially. It takes time to get there. And you need to be in plane. Those are the 3 things you need. Those are the 3 things he needs when he starts to close to you for a gunshot. Which one of those do you think you can deny him? Could you deny him range? No, because, we just did our best turn, right? And he came right into, he got right in on us. Can you deny him lead? That's what we're trying to do. We're pulling as hard as we can, trying to get his nose in lag. But if he drives to the elbow, right, and at about 3,000 feet pulls his nose to lead, you can't stop him from getting lead pursuit. If you could, you're doing the best you can pulling, right? No, you can't deny him that one either. So the only one you can deny him, usually effectively, is plane of motion. Okay, how do you deny him plane? You deny him plane with a violent maneuver where you just roll the airplane at least 70 or 80 degrees and then pull out of the plane you were in. You've got to do it at the right time. Okay, you've got to do it at the right time. If you do it too early, the guy can just reposition. The fulcrum guy sees you out there, he's coming in for the gunshot, he goes to lead, you go jink. You jink too soon, he makes a correction. Okay, doing it too soon is bad, but doing it too late is worse. So, as you start to see him come in and go, ready, ready, then your left arm sawed off by the gun. Oh, no, now I can't adjust the throttle. Oh, shoot. So, anyhow, let's take a look at a good, effective roll out of plane. Okay, you got a bandit coming in on an F-16, and you see the guy jinking here, rolling out of plane, okay? And getting out of the funnel is really what you want to do because the funnel shows the bullet dispersion of the gun. So you want to make a violent enough move to maneuver completely out of plane. Here you see, the guy out of plane with the funnel. Defensive DFM is easy to understand. Put your lift vector on the bandit and pull. The bandit is outside your turn circle at 2 nautical miles. You can force him in front of your 3-9 line with a 7G pull. The bandit starts near your turn circle and drives to lag. You're in big trouble. There's no magic moves to spit him out. All you can do is hope for a mistake and take advantage of any bandit blunders. If no mistakes are made, get ready for a guns jink. Remember, it is better to jink too early rather than too late.
Here they are side by side, the air combatants of the Korean War. This is the F-86A Sabre, to this day one of the most beautiful jet fighters ever built. Big bubble canopy so you could see, low wing loaded so you could turn, good speed, good stable gun platform. Opposing the Sabre was this airplane,